Good afternoon. I guess I am the forgettable speaker of the day. I won't go for 2 hours. I try to make my comment short. I try to take more questions. I think that'll be more interesting. I'm very excited and impressed because 2 years ago, the Fortune magazine invited me to Aspen to attend the conference organized by the magazine called the Brainstorm. They had a session on Japan, and I was to be one of the panelists. No one really showed up for the session on Japan. China and India draw hundreds of people coming to their session, but I think the people are not interested in Japan 2 years ago because our economy was so bad. Now the economy of Japan has come back. A lot of companies making highest profit ever. So the Fortune magazine invited the vice chairman of Toyota, former chairman of the American Chamber of Commerce, Glenn Fukushima, and a couple of other guys, plus me, back to Aspen this year, the Brainstorm 2006. We had more panelists than the audience this time. Hello, everyone. This is Taro Kono, Minister for Foreign Affairs of Japan. Today, I would like to share with you some of Japan's efforts toward a world free of nuclear weapons. I also would like to ask for your support on the draft resolution which Japan has submitted to the First Committee of the United Nations General Assembly, entitled United Action with Renewed Determination Towards the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons. Unfortunately, the difference of approaches towards world free of nuclear weapons has become clear between nuclear and non-nuclear weapon states, as well as among non-nuclear weapon states. Besides, as the international security environment deteriorates, the discussion towards such ultimate goal has become further complicated. Work on nuclear disarmament in these circumstances will require us to rebuild cooperation and trust among all states. We need to find a common ground for the international community to take united action on nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation. Japan is determined to make every effort to play a bridging role to actively contribute to creating a path towards nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation. Every year since 1994, Japan has submitted a draft resolution outlining a concrete and practical approach to building momentum towards a world free of nuclear weapons. These resolutions vary slightly based on each year's circumstances, but all 23 of them have presented a means for united action by the international community. They are a symbol of our abiding commitment to nuclear disarmament. Japan submitted the newest resolution on October 11th. I would like to turn now to key obstacles to nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation. North Korea's advancement in nuclear weapons and ballistic missile development have been posing an unprecedented, grave, and imminent threat to international peace and security, as well as to the NPT regime. Since last year, North Korea has conducted 3 nuclear tests and has launched nearly 40 ballistic missiles. Even since the beginning of this year, North Korea has repeated these launches, some of which appear to be new models of missiles. In July 2017 alone, North Korea launched 2 ICBM-class ballistic missiles, while 2 ballistic missiles flew over Japan in August and September. Such provocation by North Korea is totally unacceptable. Unfortunately, there are growing security concerns in the international community. Without addressing such concerns, making real progress in nuclear disarmament would be difficult. Our draft resolution this year underlines the necessity of promoting nuclear disarmament while clearly stating the importance of ensuring security and nuclear non-proliferation. They are inseparable from the process of nuclear disarmament. Among the various approaches that have been presented, Japan's draft resolution seeks to provide a common ground for all states to renew their commitment to nuclear disarmament. This includes nuclear weapon states and states facing direct security threats. Steady efforts on nuclear disarmament are needed, with cooperation by all states, particularly those which actually possess nuclear weapons. I am therefore encouraged to see that our draft resolution has already gained co-sponsorship from both nuclear and non-nuclear weapon states. Another key area is a non-proliferation treaty. The NPT is the most universal framework for nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation today, with participation by both nuclear and non-nuclear weapon states. A successful 2020 NPT review process is important for all states. We will work to increase transparency on nuclear arsenals of the nuclear weapon states and to strengthen the NPT review process through the Non-Proliferation and Disarmament Initiative. The NPDI is a cross-regional group of non-nuclear weapon states representing diverse perspectives. We believe that efforts by this group will surely provide the international community a common ground. Next, I would like to touch on the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. The CTBT functions as a de facto norm, even though it has not yet entered into force. To make a further step forward in the common call by the international community towards its early entry into force, our draft resolution strongly urges North Korea to cease its nuclear tests and to participate in the CTBT. North Korea, which is not a treaty signatory, is the only case in the world today conducting nuclear tests, in total disregard of the resolution of the United Nations Security Council. Needless to say, signing on and ratification of the CTBT by non-signatory and non-ratifying states are no less important. Japan remains committed to supporting the CTBT's early entry into force. The achievement of a world free of nuclear weapons is an earnest wish of the people of Japan, as the only country to have ever experienced nuclear devastation during war. Immediately after taking office as foreign minister, I visited Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August this year. The first-hand experiences I heard from atomic bomb survivors, or hibakusha, renewed my commitment to nuclear disarmament. Japan has a particular responsibility to help all generations and all countries understand the terrible reality of atomic bombing. Greater awareness can serve as the foundation for further efforts to realize a world free of nuclear weapons. Japan will help raise awareness by promoting visits and exchanges with hibakusha by world leaders and the younger generations. To further increase awareness towards nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation, collaboration among governments, international organizations, and civil society, which all share the same aspiration, is important. I would like to ask for your understanding on Japan's basic approach on disarmament and your strong support for Japan's draft resolution. We can build a better world free of nuclear weapons if we can unite under this resolution. Thank you. We have had a problem getting American senators and congressmen visiting Tokyo. A couple of years ago, more American congressmen visited Pyongyang than Tokyo. We finally got a couple of congressmen coming to Japan this year, and we are so excited. But first thing they said in a meeting, so what do you think of China? Big disappointment. Japan is changing right now, if you didn't notice. Our economy is still twice as big of that of China. And the Prime Minister Koizumi, who is stepping down this September, led Japan for the last 5 years. Basically, what he has done is to transform Japan from communist economy into the market economy. The Japanese economy, well, we have Toyota or Sony or Canon or some others like Nintendo. But we have very small number of industry and company who are internationally competitive. A lot of our economy is not as good. What we have been doing is the government borrow heavily to give subsidy to those industries and companies which are not competitive. The bureaucrats have made a lot of regulations so that not so competitive company could survive. We cannot keep on doing that because our deficit is much bigger than our GDP, and we just can't borrow more. And if we are not competitive, well, we could afford to be not so competitive back in 80s because there was no China. But today, there's a China next to us, even Korea next to us. If our industry loses competitiveness, the China can just replace us. So we have to transform our economy. And that's exactly what the Prime Minister has done. Get rid of Marx McCarthyism and replace that with market economy. And we have been fairly successful. But now he is stepping down. So where we are is like Eastern Europe, end of 1990s. Eastern Europe came out of a communist economy and experienced the market economy for a while. And they realized it's very hard to live in a market economy. So a lot of people voted back to the Communist Party. And that's where we are right now in Japan. The Prime Minister is stepping down. A lot of old guard in our party saying, oh, let's go back to the old days. And we can't do that. And we just have to keep moving on. Right now, Chief Cabinet Secretary Mr. Abe, who is 51, is the favorite to succeed Prime Minister. 51 is way too young to become Prime Minister in Japan. I'm 43, and on May 11th, I declared that I am candidate to the prime minister. I'm not still born yet in the Japanese politics. But because a candidate who is 43 came in, no one talks about Abe's age, so I'm helping them a lot.